Hari Om dear students, welcome to our online session. In today's session, we are going to deal with the 9th lesson of our English literature, that is Madam Rides the Bus. So I have divided this lesson into 3 parts and now we are going to deal with the first part. And in this lesson, we are going to discuss about a girl of 8 years. So as I tell you very regularly, before continuing this video, do read the lesson twice and then watch this video. Okay children, hope you will read the lesson and continue it. Coming to the author of this lesson is written by Vallikannan. Actually, this Vallikannan is a pseudonym in the sense false name of, like other name of R.S. Krishnasamy. What is his name? R.S. Krishnasamy. You can see the picture of our author R.S. Krishnasamy here, and he is from Tamil Nadu, and he was born on 12th November 1920, and he was a Tamil writer, journalist, critic, and as well as translator from Tamil Nadu of India. Okay, so Krishnaswamy, he was born in Rajavallipuram near Tirunellavallai, and he started writing at very young age, and he had published 25 books by the time he was 30 years. So this is all about our writer R.S. Krishnasamy, and he had a pseudonym as a Vallikannan, and he is from Tamil Nadu. He was a journalist, critic, and as well as a translator, and by the time of 30 years he had published 25 books. As I told you children, this is a sensitive story about an 8-year-old girl and about her first bus journey into the world outside of her village. So in this story we are going to discuss about an 8-year-old girl and her first bus journey. For the first time she is getting into the bus and she is traveling somewhere outside of her village into the world. So she is traveling into the world outside her village, and it is her first journey, and also it is her introduction to the mystery of life and death. Till then she was very unaware of the facts of her life and death, as she is of just 8 years old. Probably these age group children, they may not be knowing about what is life, what is birth, and what is death, isn't it children? So here in this journey, she herself gets introduced to the mystery of life and death, and she sees the gap between our knowing that there is death and our understanding of it, like what is death and how to understand and how to accept death. So all these things she'll experience in this story. So dear children, so in this story we are going to discuss about an 8-year girl and her first journey into the world outside of her village, and also her experience or her introduction to the mystery of life and death. Okay children, yeah. Now let us start the lesson children. There was a girl named Valli Ammai, who was called Valli for short. She was 8 years old and very curious about things. So here in this lesson, as I have already told you, that we are going to discuss about a girl, and the girl's name is here Valli Ammai. You can see the picture of a girl here, and the girl's name is Valli Ammai, and in short she was called as Valli. Okay, and her age is 8 years. She was 8 years old and very curious about things. Curious in the sense eager to know or learn something. Always hear this girl, whatever she sees in new, she wanted to know. She's very eager to know what it is and how it is and from where it is. In this way, she's always curious about the things. She wanted to know and learn how the things work. In this way, she's eager and curious to everything. So here, this girl by name Valli Ammai, she is of 8 years old and she is very curious to know about the things. And here is the picture of a girl. And her favorite pastime was standing in the front doorway. Doorway in the sense an entrance to a room or a building through a door of her house and watching what was happening in the street outside. So as I told you that she is of 8 years old and she is very curious about things. Her favorite pastime, generally if I ask you what is your pastime in a sense, the time how would you like to spend, you will say like playing games like cricket or a shuttle or something else, or playing chess or watching videos. So in this way you will say your favorite thing. And here Wally's favorite pastime was just to stand in the front doorway. See here in the picture, she is standing at the front doorway. Doorway in the sense an entrance to a big house or a room through a door. So here she is standing at the doorway and she is watching what was happening in the street outside. So every day she used to stand there and watch what is happening in the street. Okay. And there were no playmates of her own age on her street, and this was about all she had to do. So if you have friends, what do you do, children? Definitely you will not waste time in watching this or that. Definitely you will play with them, isn't it? So in the same way here, to Valli also here, there were no playmates. Playmates in the sense, no friends with whom she can play. See here, playmates in the sense a friend with whom a child plays. So here she doesn't have any playmates. So what she can do? Nothing but she has to stand at the door and watch the things in front of her house in the street, what was happening. So in this way she used to spend time. But for Valli, standing at the front door was every bit as enjoyable as any of the elaborate games other children played. Watching the street gave her many new, unusual experiences. Though she is not having any playmates, though she is simply standing at the doorway, she was never bored. She was never tired of watching, because though she was standing at the front door, every bit was enjoyable. She used to enjoy every minute, every bit. And see, elaborate games like how other children used to enjoy playing. In the same way, here she enjoys watching the things what is happening in the street. So watching the street gave her many new unusual experiences. So when she was watching the street, she's saying that many experiences she got. So Valli got here many unusual in the sense very uncommon, which are not common. So many uncommon experiences she has got while she was watching what was happening on the street by standing at a doorway. And the most fascinating thing of all was the bus that traveled between her village and the nearest town. So when she was standing at the doorway and watching the things what was happening on the street, the most fascinating in the sense very interesting. So the most interesting thing was that she has seen a bus that was traveling from her village to the nearby town. So in this way, every day she used to watch the bus which is traveling from her own village to the nearby town. It passed through her street each hour once going to the town and once coming back. So for every hour, the bus used to travel through her street, just one time going to the time, sorry, one time going to the town, and the other time it was coming back to the village. So in this way, for every hour, she used to see the bus which was traveling from her village to the town, and the sight of the bus filled each time with a new set of passengers was a source of unending joy for Wali. So every time when she sees the bus, there were a new set of passengers. See, while going to the town, few people were there, and again while returning, the same people were not there. Again, a new set of passengers. Again, in the next turn, again new set of passengers. In that way, each time for every 1 hour she used to see the bus, and for every 1 hour, the set of passengers were new set of passengers she could see, and that gave her a never ending joy. So in this way, she used to stand at the doorway and used to watch the bus for every hour, and also new set of passengers. Day after day, she watched the bus, and gradually a tiny wish crept into her head and grew there. She wanted to ride on that bus, even if just once. So, when she was watching this bus every day for every hour, slowly, day after day, a kind of a tiny wish in the sense, a kind of a desire, crept in the sense, move slowly and carefully in order to avoid being heard or noticed. Like slowly, a kind of a wish developed in her heart that she wanted to have a ride in that bus. So a kind of a wish crept into her head, that is, a kind of a wish came into her head that she would like to take a ride in that bus, just at least for once she wanted to have that ride. And this wish became stronger and stronger until it was an overwhelming desire. So this desire, in the beginning, it was just a normal wish, but day by day, this desire became more strong and strong, and it became overwhelming desire. That means very intense and hard to deal with at any cost. Yes, I should get into the bus and I should take a ride at least for once. So in this way, the girl thought, and she a great desire she was having, that was nothing but to get into the bus and travel at least for once. Only would stare wistfully at the people who got on or off the bus when it stopped at the street corner. Their faces would kindle in her longings, dreams, and hopes. So only when she had a strong desire that she should get into the bus, she used to stare wistfully, like longingly in the sense, like it is a kind of a thing, like when you want something, no, you'll be staring at it. Yeah, if I have that, how can I enjoy? Like in this way, you'll be dreaming, daydreaming, like that. Here she's staring wistfully, longingly, like if she want it, like anything, at any cost she wanted, so longing in the sense, wantedly. So wistfully at the people, so at whom she's she's staring at the people. How she's staring? Wistful in the sense, longingly, who got on or off the bus. So she's staring at the people who are getting into the bus and who are getting down off the bus. And when the bus was stopped at the corner of the street, so whenever the bus used to stop at the corner of the street, she used to stare at the people who are just getting into the bus or just getting down off the bus. and their faces would kindle in her longings. Here, kindle in the sense it's a kind of a feeling, set alight. Like no, she used to feel that they're kindling her. Like she used to feel, okay, their faces would kindle in her longings, like her desire. Longing in the sense here, her wish, her desire. What is her desire? To get into the bus. So her longing, dreams, and hopes, she feels like their faces would kindle her own longings, dreams, or hopes. So in this way, she used to feel when she was staring at the people who are getting into the bus or getting off the bus. If one of her friends happened to ride the bus and tried to describe the sights of the town to her, Wally would be too jealous to listen and would shout in English, "Proud, proud!" Neither she nor her friends really understand the meaning of the word, but they used it often as a slang expression of disapproval. So here, when she used to stare at the people who are getting in or getting off the bus, sometimes one of her friends happened to have a ride in the bus, and they used to describe, when they try to describe the sights in the sense manage to see or observe. So whenever we travel in a bus or a train, what do, children? Do we sleep or just look into book? Generally, we try to peep through the window and have a look at the beautiful things outside, isn't it? So, in the same way, if by chance one of her friends happen to have a ride in the bus, and if they try to describe the sights, what they have seen or what they have observed, if they try to tell to her, okay, whatever they have seen in the town, Wally, she would be very jealous, because in fact she wanted to have a ride in the bus but she couldn't go, and her friends have gone, isn't it? So she would be very jealous to listen to the description of her own friends, and she would shout in English. What she would shout, proud, proud. So in this way she used to shout, but neither she nor her friends know what does the word really mean. See, neither she nor her friends really understand the meaning of the word proud. Just Valli used to say proud, proud, but both of them, either Valli or her friend, understand the meaning of proud, but they say just as a slang for the expression of a disapproval, that they don't agree. Here, expression of it is an informal words often used within a close group. Just know informally we speak with one another. So in this way, she used to say proud, proud as a word of a disapproval, that like no, she doesn't agree. In this way, she used to say to her friends whenever she heard the description of their journey in the bus. Like actually she wanted to have a journey. She was in fact had a great desire to travel in a bus, at least for one. So when instead of her, when one of her friends have gone, she definitely would have felt jealous, and she used to say these words, proud, proud. Okay, just it is like no, they used to use it for word of a disapproval. It was an informal word among the children. Over many days and months, Wally listened carefully to conversations between her neighbors and people who regularly used the bus, and she also asked a few discreet questions here and there. So, this way, she picked up various small details about the bus journey. The town was 6 miles from her village. So when she was having a strong desire to travel in the bus from her village to town, she should know minimum things, isn't it? So without knowing anything, how can she travel? So what she has done, children, here for many days and in fact for many months, Valli, she used to listen carefully to the conversations between her neighbors and the people who were regularly use the bus. Like after getting down the bus, they used to travel on the road and they used to talk with Valli's neighbors. So she used to listen to the conversations between Valli's neighbors and as well as the people who traveled in the bus, and she used to collect some information. Okay, and also she also have asked a few discreet in the sense careful in one's speech or actions, especially in order to keep something confidential or to avoid embarrassment. So she used to ask a few questions, discreet questions in the sense she used to ask some questions, and that questions will not reveal the real intention of her. What is the real intention of her here? That is, she wanted to get into the bus and have a journey, like you wanted to travel in the bus, but that intention was not shown to the people. Okay, so she kept her desire so confidential, and she started asking like few questions here and there to get the minimum information about the journey. So this way she picked up various small details. In this way, just by listening to the conversations and asking discreet questions, she has collected some details about the journey, and those details are the town was just 6 miles away from her village. So what was the distance between her village and the town, children? It was just 6 miles away. So the town was 6 miles away. This was the first information collected by the girl Valli by just listening to the conversation of her neighbors and the passengers of the bus, or just asking a discreet questions. And some of the other information is just like this. The fare was 30 paise one way, which is almost nothing at all. She heard one well-dressed man say, but to Ali, who scarcely saw that much money from one month to next, it seemed a fortune. So here, so the first information what she has got was that the town was 6 miles away from her village, and the next information was the fare in the sense the price of the ticket, the cost of the ticket. If you want to travel in a bus or a train, you need to have a ticket, isn't it, children? So the price or the cost of the ticket, that is the fare of the ticket, was 30 paise for one way. If you want to go to town, 30 paise. Again, if you want to come from town, again you have to pay 30 paise. And almost one of the well-dressed man, he was saying that it is not at all a great amount, okay, which is almost nothing at all in the sense it is very less amount. 30 paise was very less amount. So one of the well-dressed man was saying, but coming to Wali, it was who was scarcely saw that much money. So she hardly, since very rarely, she had seen that money, like no 30 paisa from one month to the next. So in a month, hardly she had seen once or twice that money, and actually it seemed a fortune in the sense like no large amount of money. 30 pies itself is like a huge amount of money, like a or asset. Okay, fortune in the sense a large amount of money or asset. So here that well-dressed man was saying that 30 pies was not at all a matter, but to Valli it was a fortune, and the trip to the town took 45 minutes. On reaching town, if she stayed in her seat and paid another 35, she could return home on the same bus. So the other information what she has got is, so the trip to the town, the traveling time is 45 minutes. Though it was 6 miles away, the distance between the village and the town. It took 45 minutes from her town to the, sorry, from her village to the town. So the trip to the town was 45 minutes. And after reaching the town, if she just stays in her seat itself, and again if she pays 35, she will be returning home on the same bus. So this was the information collected by this girl. So first one was the town was 6 miles away, and the cost of the fare of the ticket was 35. And to her, to Ali, it is really a huge amount. And if she buys that, and the traveling time of the trip was 45 minutes from her village to town. And if she stays the same bus, and again if she wanted to come back, she has to pay again another 35, and then she will be coming back to her home in the same bus. So this was the information. See, this is like 35 is looking almost like a huge amount to Wali. This meant that she could take the 1 o'clock afternoon bus, reach the town at 1:45, and be back home by about 2:45. So in this way she started planning her own journey. So if she starts, see, even in the clock here, if she starts from her village at 1 o'clock bus, in the afternoon bus, so at 1 o'clock if she starts, she will reach the town by 1:45. Again, if she starts there, she will be coming back to the village by 2:45. So in this way, she had planned her, she was trying to plan her trip to the town in bus. Okay. On and on went her thoughts as she calculated and recalculated, planned and replanned. So here Wali, she was thinking on and on about all the journey or the trip in the bus, and she started calculating the amount. Again she recalculated, planned and again replanned. So this regularly happened to all of us children, isn't it? So whenever you are going to a new place, or whenever you are going for a new journey, almost you'll be thinking a dozen times, isn't it? More than a dozen times you'll be thinking like how to go, where to go, what to wear, what to pack, what to have. So in this way you'll be calculating and planning, replanning. So in the same way, as it was the first time for Wali to get into the bus, so she was calculating and again recalculating, calculating and planning and pre-planning. So in this way, she was trying to plan a journey in the bus. Okay, children? Finally, here children, Valli, after collecting a lot of information about the bus and the fare details, traveling time and everything, she was planning to get into the bus and have a nice journey in the bus from her village to town, and again from town to her village. Okay, let us see in the next part of the video whether she will get into the bus. If she gets into the bus, will she reach the town, or what will happen further in the lesson? Hope you have understood this part of the lesson, children. And if you have any doubts, please contact us so that we will clarify your doubts. Hari Om. Thank you.